This court is now in session. We will hear the case of Keon Coleman versus Tyreek Hill. A dynasty redraft, Your Honor, does not restrict you from one side of thinking on this. We've got to attack both angles. Redraft, dynasty, redraft. Who would you rather have? I'm asking the people in the court. Don't be quiet yet. We'll have order in a second. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
It's time for fantasy football. Court. The FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Whenever news breaks. You know what's so funny about a topic like this is we get a couple people that come in here and they say things like, oh, nah. I don't know, Theo, if you mean that with this topic, but I get those like, this isn't even close. I don't even know what side that comment would relate to. When someone says, oh, this isn't close, or no, I'm not going there. And I don't know if Theo's saying that. But I don't even know what side you're on. That's how close this topic is. And at the end of the day, this court is here to determine two things. Is Keon Coleman worth more than Tyreek Hill in redraft? Is Keon Coleman worth more than Tyreek Hill in dynasty? I'm going to take your phone calls. You will be the counsel, expert witnesses. I'm the judge, the jury, and executioner. And I will, in this biased court, deem and answer by the time after I hear all of the cases. The phone lines are open. Dial in. Call into
the show. Call into the show.
And in normal Denny fashion, we got to test the phone line.
No, you're right, Smitty. Birdie sucks. You're right. I saw it the other day. I watched the old show.
The phone lines appear to be working. I tested the phone line with that voicemail just to make sure the audio is coming through. And it cuts out at any moment, so we go to the speaker. It's just the way it's going to be. This is the best the phone line's ever been. And it's complex to integrate everything we've got integrated here. People have no idea how hard it is to do what we do here in this courtroom. In this court. What's funny is I have my people always get mad at my yelling and screaming, so I have a limiter on my mic finally, and I don't think you can hear this. I think it actually takes out the mic. That's so wild. All right, so before I have Travis come in here, first of all, Travis, you are a counsel for Coleman or for Tyreek Hill. Are you in the defense or the prosecution?
Give me Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman, okay. You are the counsel for Keon Coleman. I need a Tyreek Hill counsel. If someone would dare to call in and take this side, this absolutely losing case in this courtroom, this corrupt courtroom. Tyreek Hill ain't winning anything. Let me go on a little tirade here real quickly while we await the counsel to call in. They're late, by the way. Here's an Instagram post that I just put up on my IG. If you don't follow me on Instagram at The Fantasy Football Show. How ironic that that's my name over there. The Fantasy Football Show. If you don't follow me over there, you're missing out on a lot of different content because it is a fantastic thing. But over here, I have a comparison of Tyreek Hill and AB side by side, split screening when AB ran out of his house and said, I'm free. Hey, grandma, I'm free. And then right here, we got Aiden Ross talking to Tyreek Hill. They were on Aiden Ross's live stream. I don't know if this is yesterday. It's all kind of coming out. The Aiden Ross in the vehicle, they're all kind of driving around together. And I believe it all happened yesterday or the day before. But Tyreek Hill and Aiden Ross pretended that a trade came through on their phones. And as you can see in the text, Tyreek Hill yells, let's go! Same thing, I don't think he's trying to be like AB at all. I just found it funny when I was looking at this situation that it reminded me very much of that situation. So you can see right here in the text, let's go. He says, let's go, meaning he's celebrating that he's getting traded from Miami. Now, it didn't happen. It was like they're placating the audience. They were doing a practical joke on the audience, but this guy nonstop wants out of Miami. A trade seems inevitable at some point because he's creating so much toxicity in the locker room. He's a toxic individual, and he's starting to go down the road of AB in early AB, burned his feet off AB. That we're talking about, that was tame AB. When AB burned his feet off, remember that? When he burned his feet off, he burned his feet off. Do you remember that? That was crazy. He burned his feet off, wanted out of that Raiders situation. But before that, he was traded to the Buffalo Bills. Before Josh Allen became the guy that I predicted him to be. Before he took a snap in the NFL, I said Josh Allen would be a top 1 to 5. Not top 5, top 1 to 5 quarterback. And he was just evolving into that player. Diggs hadn't arrived yet. AB was traded to the Buffalo Bills, and Antonio Brown said, I'm not going. So they had to withdraw the trade, cancel the trade, and instead he wanted to go to the Raiders. Instead, these players sometimes have no clue what's good for them. This guy AB was out of his mind to think that was a better situation. Burned his feet off, then he convinced his way out of the Raiders situation. That was early AB. So you got to ask yourself, is Tyreek Hill in that early stage? No one's trying to say he's where AB is now and how AB acts and all that. But this is a situation where Tyreek Hill is kind of getting off his rocker. And he's saying things out of pocket. He's saying things he apparently takes back. Then he goes back and forth. He wants out. And my fear is that he doesn't go to a location that is going to be as good as we think it's going to be. Even if he went to KC, let's say, that's where a lot of people want him to go. First of all, that would be devastating for Rashee Rice and also for Xavier Worthy. Maybe not to the degree we think it will be, because maybe he doesn't even stay healthy for 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month and a half, plays mediocre football. Last time we saw him play, he did nothing. Okay, so it's not like he's coming off a big year or something, or a big, bounce back final month or something. This is a player that may have dropped off the face of the earth. I don't think KC wants the problem, the headache. I don't think they want him back at all. They got such a good wide receiver room going. They have probably the third or fourth or fifth best wide receiving room in the National Football League. So they don't need him. But let's say he went somewhere like that. How is he going to dominate? How is he going to dominate? Where is he going to go? What team wants him right now? Buffalo? I suppose that could be one scenario. But one thing about Buffalo is when teams move, players move to Buffalo, they're not necessarily used. And that would be ironic if that's where he lands in this debate tonight, because the debate tonight is about Keon Coleman versus Tyreek Hill. Now, I'll say that I just don't have faith in Tyreek Hill. Nowhere near his ADP should you be drafting him. If he's going in round 3, give me a handful of players. Kyron goes in round 3. Breece Hall goes in round 4. JD5 goes in round 3. Josh Allen goes in round 3. Lamar goes in round 3. Jalen Hurts goes in 4. Burrow goes in 4 or 5. Every single one of those players is light years ahead of Tyreek Hill in getting your return on investment, your ROI. There's no world where I'm drafting Tyreek Hill. I draft Harvey before I draft Tyreek Hill. Harvey's going to explode and crush Hill in fantasy football points. I draft Marion Hampton over Tyreek Hill. I draft player after player after player after player. You could stack them on top. Now, here's the crazy part. In redraft, his ADP is so far ahead of Keon Coleman's. This becomes one of those, in a vacuum, who would you rather have? Not who would you rather draft. So from the redraft perspective, I'm going to ask both counsels to argue the redraft and dynasty perspective. You have to consider the cost of entry if you're going to make your argument, or say in a vacuum, I'd rather have Keon Coleman if I couldn't do any sort of trade valuation. If it was like basically saying you can either get a Lamborghini or a Tesla tank, and there's no price value involved. You had to just choose. What do you drive? What do you like to do? The cost of it has no bearing on it. You can't trade it in. You have to, how long does it last? How hard is it to maintenance the thing? There's no trade-in capability. What would you rather have? Keon Coleman's output, what he gives you, or Tyreek Hill's output, what he gives you? And in my dynasty question, you're going to answer as a council member, you're going to answer which one would you rather have straight up in a trade for dynasty. Two very contexts in the confines of this court. The redraft questions in a vacuum, not relating to draft value, just end of day result. And the dynasty question is actually a trade. Which one would you rather have in dynasty? Keon Coleman, before I go over to Travis to make his case on Keon Coleman, I'll say this. Keon Coleman is a player that in my mind, Vincent, go ahead and mute yourself real quick. I'll be right with you. Just mute yourself, please. I will say this. Keon Coleman showed up, ladies and gentlemen, 10 pounds heavier. And he looks like, quote unquote, an entirely different player. He's faster than ever, getting out of his breaks faster, and mentally smarter, hoping to dominate the X receiver. Is anyone hyped? This coming from all kinds of Buffalo reports. But he added 10 pounds of muscle. This guy is already a big, tall monster. And dare I say this, I know we got burned on him last year, but sometimes rookie wide receivers in Buffalo specifically, or even players in general that get traded over to Buffalo, think Amari Cooper. He had no shot at all. Sometimes they take a little time. Think Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay back in the day, before Christian Watson, before he was handed a rookie-only wide receiver room and he had to make do with what he had with Christian Watson, made Christian Watson a great rookie receiver, and then Christian Watson fell off the face of the earth. But point being, Aaron Rodgers wouldn't look at you. If you're a rookie, you didn't have a chance. You didn't have a chance. It was your second or third year. That's kind of what they do in Buffalo. It's kind of what Josh Allen does. I know he burned us, but I think we might have been a year early, and I'm kind of excited about Keon Coleman in 2025. I really am starting to get amped about it. And the added weight and this expectation and the fact that he looks better, getting out of his breaks faster, I think Josh Allen's going to trust him a lot more. This could be the year of Keon Coleman. All right, going over to Travis. Vincent, you're going to have to defend Tyreek Hill. Is that okay with you, Vincent?
Oh God, I'll try, but geez.
All right. Hey, you're a defender. You're a public defender. You got to do what you got to do. There's no turning in your client, okay? He says he's innocent. All right. Travis, go ahead. You got 60 seconds to 90 seconds depending on how good you're doing. Go.
Yeah, so right away you have the age difference, 9-year age difference, 22 versus 31. In size, like you mattered. Not only is he 6'4", he's now up to 220, 225. So just talk about red zone effectiveness he can have, scoring touchdowns. I think he had, what did he end up having? Was it five touchdowns last year? 4 touchdowns. He can be an easy double-digit guy if he's getting the ball all the time. Team is better. The quarterback throwing to him is better. He has, in my opinion, less competition for targets. There's a bunch of guys in Buffalo. There's no one with the first-round talent that he has, whereas Tyreek has Jonnu and Waddle and Etienne all getting passes thrown to him. Then if you go off the field, like you were talking about with Tyreek, it's always something, and it's rarely positive. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but it's always some type of drama or some type of video for his, Instagram or whatever, where Keon Coleman, everything you always see of him is he's just a very positive, easygoing guy. He's, still really young. So I like him. And if you saw right before he got hurt last year, there were two games where he balled out and he was looking like he was making a difference in that offense. And then he got hurt, so that threw some things off. So I'm very much against writing guys off after year one. I think we've been spoiled with guys like BTJ and Neighbors and, over the past couple of years. So
Marv is well deserved.
The guy next year to get into offense.
Marv as well deserves a little bit of a pass in that too. That we can't just judge players based on. Let me put up.
Don't write guys off after 1 year.
Let me put up Keon Coleman's game log. The only thing that concerns me, if I was to bring some ammunition to the table for the prosecution, would be that, like, even in the playoffs, though, it's not like he ended well. He had 5 yards, 5 yards, and 12 yards. He had 1 reception, and 1 reception. Like, he didn't end the season well at all. So he has to, like, come out of the gate firing and us saying this is a completely different player, which it very well could be. And it sounds like it. And that's why I'm excited. But here's his game log for anybody that wants to see how Keon Coleman played the entirety of the year, the ups and downs. You see this this last matchup in New England on January 5, he had 10 targets, only 2 receptions though. Whose fault was that? What was that? How do you remember that game?
Throwing to him though. Josh Allen wasn't even playing. They had all their backups.
Yeah, that was that game. You're right.
That was the Joe Milton game.
That was the Joe Milton game. Damn it. Damn it, Joe. I still like Joe Millen. 27 yards, 17 yards, 64 yards. He did have that touchdown against the Jets in that 12-29 game. You know, the two games, I think this is what you're talking about. Right here against the Titans and Seahawks, he had 7 targets for 4 receptions for 125. Then he had this 5 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown. He had this touchdown in between. I mean, it was very sporadic, completely spread out, and then no playoff games that were at all. So, I'm excited. I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm certainly not betting the farm on it, but man, this is what we wanted to hear last year. And he still looked really good. Remember how there was probably no player that looked better in the preseason than Keon Coleman, and then they just didn't translate it over to the regular season. He was catching everything. Josh Allen was feeding him left and right in the preseason and in camp.
They didn't throw to him enough. I mean, he had, besides that last week, which was a throwaway week, he had 3 games where he had 7 targets. All the rest were 5 targets or less. I mean, he's got games with 1 or 2 targets here. I mean, how is anyone going to do anything with those targets?
But isn't it wild that he was targeted so much in the offseason and in the preseason timeframe practices? It was mostly practices, but in camp, he looked like he was going to get 120 receptions. That's how much Josh Allen was feeding him, but it was nonstop. It was in scrimmages too. It wasn't just in like shorts. It was whenever they were in any sort of competitive state. It was almost as if he had floated to the surface immediately, and then when they got in to the regular season, it just changed. So I'm hopeful. Let me go over to. I'm sorry, Counsel. What was your name? It was Vincent. Vincent, go ahead. You got 90 seconds, maybe 60, maybe 30.
So, we're well aware that Tyreek Hill is a speed factor. We've seen him and Tua produce on the Mike McDaniel offense before. He put up 1,900 yards in 2023. He's done pretty well in 2022. And I understand that he had a down year this year, but all wide receivers have down years at some point. Does not mean it's the end. And Tyreek played on 2024 Dolphins offense that was missing their main quarterback. They were missing Tua.
Slow down, Counsel. Slow down. We can't understand. You're mumbling. You're mumbling a little bit. You're going too fast.
Sorry.
That's right.
Sorry. I understand he had a down year, right? But it doesn't mean it's the end. This year, they were missing their quarterback. They're missing Tua Tagovailoa. All offenses are going to see lower production without their main quarterback.
All right, go ahead. Turn on your client.
And I understand.
Yeah, turn on your client. Tell me why you like Keon Coleman.
Wait, I'm doing Coleman or Tyreek?
Switch. It's okay. This court doesn't care. Tell us why you like Keon Coleman. Tell me why you're stabbing your client in the back. Go ahead.
You said I had Tyreek, Smitty.
I know I didn't. I'm telling you, free reign to tell this court how you really feel. Go ahead.
Oh, tell me how I feel about Keon Coleman. Well, the Bills last year spread the ball around. Why wouldn't they spread the ball around this year?
So hold on. All right.
Been trying to do it for a long time, but you had a guy who was demanding targets. And Keon Coleman, I don't know if he could step up and demand those targets. People had concerns of him separating from DBs all year, and he wasn't able to do it. He wasn't able to prove himself as a solidified wide receiver one. And you still have guys on that Bills offense: Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, still have James Cook, guys that are going to take the ball away from Keon Coleman.
But don't you think
have that same problem?
Don't you think the names you listed are kind of vanilla to me? Like but who's taken? There's so many targets to go around. Josh Allen's he's not overfeeding any of those guys. And I know there's a lot of Shakir people in the house today, a lot of Shakir fan club. And I'm not saying he's not deserving of having a fan club, but Shakir's not shutting down the emergence of a wide receiver if he is the guy. If he is the guy, Shakir's going to step to the side and be very good, be a very good second wide receiver on a team. But Shakir is no wide receiver one for an NFL team. He's not. I'm sorry. You want to call in and argue that? The phone line's open right now. He is a complementary piece that could be looked at like Pittman was. And people wanted Pittman to be the number one. I told everyone he is not the number one. Pittman had no shot at being a number one wide receiver in fantasy football. But for some reason, people thought he could be. And he had no shot at being a team's number one. And for whatever reason, his fan club was... Just think back to Michael Pittman Jr. Do you know how aggressive those people were toward me and this channel whenever I'd go on a tirade of how Michael Pittman Jr. is not a number one for a team? He's not. He's a complimentary player, just like Shakir is. I like Shakir. I'm not saying Shakir can't be good. I'm not even saying Keon Coleman for sure is a number one, but at least he has a shot to be. Shakir does not. Shakir can play like a top 12 to 15 during a given season, like this particular season. If Coleman gets injured or doesn't step up and there's no one else there, out of sheer volume, Shakir could flirt with 12 to 15. It's possible, but he's not a true number one. Just like Pittman was able to flirt with it, but he's not. Shakir's not a true one. I don't know if Coleman is, but at least he has a shot. We have an expert witness on the phone line. Rock out. Rock out. What have you heard? What do you hear? What do you say?
I feel like Coleman will have a good jump-off season this coming year. And when it comes to Hill, you're basically all dependent on if Tua stays healthy. And in that case, I would take Allen because he's always available.
And that's the other thing you got to think about is, like, who's got the better quarterback? Josh Allen is the better quarterback by a country mile. I like Tua. Tua's pretty fantasy productive, but at the same time, what have we seen out of Tyreek Hill and Tua? Nothing. So regardless of how good Tua can be at times, we don't know why there was a disconnect. And the fact that he's begging to get out multiple times this offseason, he has basically said, yes, I've been traded in a fake prank, or I would like to be traded, or directly to a camera. I want out. I want out of here. He's done it 3 or 4 times now. And at some point, you got to say he doesn't like Tua anymore. He ranked his top 5 quarterbacks last year and the year prior. Tua was in his top 5 every time he was asked a question. And no one's trying to say that Tua's a top 5 quarterback. The point is, every time you asked him, he gave a proper answer. Tua was in my top 5. Tua's in my top 5. Tua's in my top 5. Like you would for your quarterback. I don't care if your quarterback's Will Levis. You're going to be like, Will Levis is top 5. Just like Cam Ward going over to Tennessee. Who's the number 1 wide receiver in the league? Burks. Who's the number 1 running back in the league? Tony Pollard. That's what Cam Ward said. That's what you say. Guess what he's saying now? Not Tua. He was asked to rank the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. The other day, he left Tua out. It's clearly fractured beyond the point of repair. He's leaving. So in this, you got to decide changing teams, changing environments, changing playbooks. He's coming back from a wrist injury, and he did not look the part last year, and now has to go into a new system and setup while he's aging out. It's a risky proposition. The truth is that both these guys have a lot of risk. The only difference in redraft is that you can get Keon Coleman, not free, but closer to free. Tyreek Hill, you're foregoing Harvey. You're foregoing a Mahomes, who's going even a lot later than Tyreek Hill. You're foregoing a Hampton. You're foregoing a Henderson. You're letting slip out of your kung fu grip a JSN. You're letting Travis Hunter go free. You're letting Harvey go free. None of those guys should be drafted after Tyreek Hill. So in redraft, I'm deeming this an absolute lambasting of a court case where Tyreek Hill doesn't have a shot in hell in redraft of earning his ADP and being worth the cost of entry. Zero chance. And if in a vacuum where you just have to pick one over the other, I think it's a toss-up, to be honest, because you do have some potential. Some. Not worth risking at the cost of entry, but if someone said, here's a free Hill or a free Keon Coleman, I'm not gonna be biased and tell you that I wouldn't probably, in many cases, or at least in a split, one in one league, one in the other, take Hill in one and take Coleman in the other. If they were both free of charge and I could just throw them in on my roster and hope for the best. I'd be lying to you if I said in that context I wouldn't look at Hill. From Dynasty, zero chance I view him as equal to Coleman. Give me the upside all day. This case is unfortunately closed, and the phone lines will be open. I grant in favor of Coleman on all counts.
You've just been Smitty
my client
approved.
there, Your Honor.
It's time.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vincent. What'd you say?
So you're pretty harsh to my client there, Your Honor.
Well, he's lucky he's only getting community service, Vincent. But any other things you'd like to say now that the case is over and you can be completely honest, Vincent?
Yeah, Tyreek's not really worth his ADP.
That's true.
I'm taking Keon for free. I'd rather have that.
Keon
Makes life easier. I'd rather have an RJ Harvey. I'd rather have a Travis Hunter. I'd rather have any of the rookies that I could take a shot on in rounds 5 than I taking a shot on a guy who's 31 years old and on an offense that's clearly in decline.
Yeah, we like Keon Coleman for a reason. It wasn't made up. It wasn't wrong. We didn't have it wrong as a prospect. We were dead on. Sometimes, like, look at Bijan as an example, and I'm not trying to compare that Keon Coleman's going to go the route of Bijan and become as good as Bijan is positionally. I'm merely saying there was a world where we all came out of Bijan Robinson's rookie year, and we said, damn it, this is not what we signed up for, not even close. We knew the talent was there, but it didn't get utilized. It didn't get implemented. The plan was not what we expected. And Bijan busted on everybody. Even scoring, I believe, was running back 8, or was it 8 or 9? It was still a good year, decent year. Just like Marvin Harrison Jr.'s 8 touchdowns and 800 yards was a decent year, but the expectation was so massive that it was a big letdown and nutsack kick, just a big one. And so I think that you got to remember that Bijan we were a victim, as was Bijan, of that situation that was hard to see coming. And if anybody says we should have known because of Arthur Smith, I take the L on the Bijan Robinson. I don't know why I'm saying Johnson right now. Bijan Robinson. The Bijan Robinson debacle his rookie year was such a nut kick. I take the L for it because I promoted the guy as a potential number 1, number 2, number 3 running back his rookie year. But Arthur Smith had run Algier like a monster that year prior. There was no reason to think he was going to do some sort of detrimental rotation with a guy that they invested that high a draft capital. What was he, picked 9 overall? Why would Arthur Smith do that? There was no way to see that coming after Algier's workhorse usage. So at the end of the day, you just got to remember that Keon Coleman, like Bijan, could have had an out of his control, disappointing rookie year that should not be held against him, like Travis just said. I'm not saying you've got to invest highly. I'm not saying invest in every draft. But the good news is he costs you literally close to nothing in both Redraft and Dynasty. So it's a fun, gamble to take because it's not really a gamble at all. I think I'll be rooting for him. I'll be hoping for him. I wouldn't put any money on it, but I certainly think that he's in an offense that's so potent and capable. And there's no one standing in Keon Coleman's way. Not Shakir, nobody. Shakir will be good, but he's not standing in Keon Coleman's way.
Well,
he's not.
I think, and to that point, I was going to say, I understand how people say Joe Brady's a run-first guy. He likes to spread the ball around. But if Keon Coleman is a stud, he's going to demand the ball. Not saying he demands it, but his play will demand the ball. And Josh Allen will throw him the ball. And Brady will have no choice but to get him the ball in the offense. Otherwise, he's going to get fired. If he's legitimately good, a stud.
Yeah.
So I get that he wants to spread it around and everything, but, stud rise above offensive coordinators.
I just think when you look at what Keon Coleman looked like last offseason, I feel like people are not talking about that there were 2 different Keon Colemans. And not necessarily his fault, but there were 2 different Keon Colemans. Keon Coleman looked like he was light years ahead of all rookie wide receivers. He really did. And everyone's going to pretend that didn't happen. Everyone's going to pretend like they didn't feel that way. Everyone's going to pretend that there's no truth to that. He looked like he was advanced. He looked like he took an advanced degree in the NFL and was a second-year or third-year player. He was jumping up above all other defenders and just pulling the ball out of 50-50 jump balls with 2 different defenders trying to vie for it. He was catching, dots near the pylon and toe tapping in the end zone. He was doing everything you expect a second or third year veteran breakout wide receiver to do. And then when he got into the NFL, it was just, I know he got hurt at one point, but it was as if it was a different player. It was so wild. It was almost like he was abducted and his twin brother was just slammed right down on the field and he didn't know how to play. It was so weird. So, I'm not going to, like I said, bet the farm on it, but I'm certainly going to root for it. And I'm certainly going to be here and have a couple shares so that when it happens, we can celebrate properly. And I think everybody should do the same because he's practically free. He's practically free. Rock out, anything else, bro?
Yeah, basically where you taking Hill, he has to perform like a top 5 guy because in the third round you can get Harrison or Wilson that could be in the potentially top 10.
Yeah. I mean, I think Hill is not going. Where's Hill going in ADP? He's going right around
24, 27, I think.
Yeah, between the different ADP contests, 24 to 27. I mean, Rockout's right. I was just about to slam Rockout's point and say, no, Garrett Wilson's going higher. No, he's not. Garrett Wilson's not going higher than him. I can't believe my eyes. I'm looking at it. Below him, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, JSN, Rashee Rice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Course Worthy and all those guys. Is the world out of their mind? Is the world out of their mind? I just can't believe that. Who the hell is drafting Tyreek Hill before Garrett Wilson, before Rashee Rice, before JSN, before Marvin Harrison Jr., before Terry McLaurin? Who in the hell is doing that? Thank you. I want to shake their hand. I want to thank them. I do not want it to change. Everybody tell everybody you know that you don't respect. Say, yes, Tyreek Hill is amazing. He should be going higher. Take him in the mid-20s. Do it. Snag him.
Take him off our hands.
I mean, good God. I was about to rip Rock out. Not Garrett Wilson. Yes. I'm looking at the ADP right now. What is wrong with people?
And the crazy thing is, there's just like, you talk about red flags and stuff. So many things have to go right, or so many things could go wrong. That to thread that needle, and for him to hit all those things, to be elite, to hit that ADP, that's the biggest thing. I'm not saying he can't go out and have, 900 to 1,000 yards, but for him to be elite and thread that needle.
Savage and Vidal have super chats. Let me get to those real quick. But can somebody call in that truly? I'll try I can't promise you. I'll try not to blast your take. I'll try and be respectful as I can be. It's just hard. But does someone have the courage to call in right now and genuinely argue a stance they believe in that Tyreek Hill should be taken above those guys? Is anybody willing to dial in and not just trying to argue? I mean, truly believes it. I want someone that believes it. If no one calls in, then we know no one here believes it, I guess. But I can't imagine what someone would say. Dynasty 6 points for TD. Allen, Egbuka, or Burrow, Nico. Allen, Egbuka, Burrow, Nico. You got to go Burrow, Nico. Number one, Burrow could outscore Josh Allen and has and did last year in any given season. So Burrow and Nico crush Allen and Egbuka. And I love Egbuka. But that is not even a close trade in Redraft. It's especially not in Dynasty. I mean, it's nearly the same in terms of Redraft and Dynasty. Dynasty Superflex, my wide receivers are Rice, Golden, Flowers, Chase. Would you trade Rice for Burden and Jaden Higgins? Absolutely not. I don't know what the disrespect is for in regards to Rice's Dynasty value. But, this is kind of like in that Seinfeld episode where Jerry takes his car into the mechanic and then he goes home and the mechanic calls and says, Jerry, you haven't been taking care of this car. And then he just takes off in the car on the mobile phone. And it's like those car phones, back then, and he's like, I'm taking the car, Jerry, I'm not returning it, and he steals it and he drives off and he's driving across the country, and Jerry's car was taken by his mechanic because he did take care of it, and the mechanic took very, very big offense to that. Like, Vidal, this is in the same way. You got Rashee Rice, and I almost want to just take him off your roster and not give him back, because as much as I love Burden, he's unproven, and he's not in as good of a situation. Jaden Higgins, unproven, and definitely not in as good of a situation. Rashee Rice has the capability, not only in redraft to be a top 5 to 10 wide receiver, but especially and equally in dynasty. So this is not even close. Little baby lap, don't get mad. You super chatted. You know I appreciate you, Vidal. This is for your own good, so you remember it. What wasn't that don't come back lap? It was just, a very respectable lap. Thank you, BBQ, for those earlier super chats. If anybody else has super chats, drop them. Let me go over to Vincent. Vincent, do you have any final thoughts, my boy?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at even a wide receiver like Devontae Adams, his first year wasn't that great. He had like 400-something receiving yards.
Yeah,
even
but
his second year was a little slow.
Yeah, but let me just stop
So
you.
you can
They're
any receiver can have a down first year, second year. Just
different times.
Building up.
Different times, though. You can't. Back in the day, receivers took longer to develop. So I don't know that I'd be comparing like, hey, this rookie receiver took a long time. It does usually translate quicker. I think that you can't, when you get an 808 like Marv had, that's acceptable. But what Coleman had, the 404, that's not, that there's something else wrong and broken that needs to be explainable, which I think there is. The fact that they don't use him right, it's not his fault, but it's not about the receiver's lack of progression. 404 is not acceptable in today's translation of college football to the pros. But, and nor is the general thinking that receivers can't come over and be immediate top 10 wide receivers. They don't all do it, but they at least show that they are capable of it. Coleman did not. Coleman did in the preseason and in practice and workouts, but I wouldn't be talking about, Anquan Bolden or Larry Fitzgerald, or Devontae Adams. Even Devontae Adams is a little more recent, but back then the game did not translate the same. We needed to see something out of Keon Coleman, which is why, because we didn't see it really, 404 doesn't cut it. We're going to have a lot of doubters, but that's good. That's good. And if it really was a broken system that didn't allow him into the lineup and catching footballs, and the injury on top of it, and there's a world where if he didn't get hurt, what week did he get hurt, Travis? It was like week.
I think it was week 9.
Yeah, there's a chance. So 10. It missed all of November practically. There was a chance that he could have turned it on at the end, and he just didn't because of that. I mean, it got kind of forgotten. There's a lot of explainable things, but I wouldn't say rookies. You pretty much get at a bare minimum what Marv had, like 808 or 907 or 6 or 5. There's got to be something. If you don't deliver, and you can't have an explainable reason, I don't know that I feel like you're going to just take big steps forward. So we have to hope that the reason Keon Coleman didn't do anything wasn't because he needed more time, is because he wasn't given a chance, or he was injured and wasn't given a chance. That's really what it has to be. It has to be that. It can't be anything else. Marv and Harrison Jr. didn't click for him the whole time, but he didn't get the chance. There were 2 or 3 plays, at least 3, where Marv would have had touchdowns and would have ended with 11 TDs and 1,000 yards. If Marv just had 3 plays converted where Kyler didn't even see him or overthrew or underthrew him. Just 3 identifiable plays I could go grab right now on film and show you, and that would have given him 1,000 yards and 11 TDs. Just 3 plays. Very obvious.
No one would have said anything about it.
Yeah, obvious plays. 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. Amazing season. So Marv had it. You can pinpoint why, how, and where, and it all fell apart. With Coleman, we can't. So there is risk, but I think it's explainable, and as ADP, the explanation is acceptable. But who the hell knows what's going to happen, bro? I'm not going to lie. I'm mixed on it. I am. I'm mixed because I'm obligated to make sure I'm not sending a message that is reckless. Like, hey, go draft Keon Coleman in every draft. Do it live. Go get him. That would be reckless. Anything else? Who else? Who's on the line right here? We got Vincent. Anything else, bro? Before I clear you off the phone line, pal.
No, that was about it. You made some fair points there. I agree with you on the
I appreciate you.
comparison with Keon rookie year to Adams. Made a lot of sense there.
All right, give me one other player that didn't deliver last year that you do like having a big year. Somebody that did not deliver.
Well, it's not that they didn't deliver, but maybe expectations were higher. Xavier Worthy would be mine. It's not a guy who under-delivered, but maybe people expected more because of all the hype.
Well, to your point, he had a majority of his top. He was number 2 wide receiver in the league if you extrapolate his last 5 played games, but 3 of those were playoff games. So to your point, only 2 of those lived inside the regular season. So you're not wrong. It took him a while to get going. It was nice to see it. And that's kind of what we needed out of Keon Coleman. If Keon Coleman didn't get hurt, maybe he would have had 3 amazing playoff games. Maybe Josh Allen would have won a Super Bowl. Maybe he would have had, 5 straight games as well that put him like in a weird extrapolation of top 5 to 7, top 5 to 10 wide receiver numbers. And yeah, so who knows, bro? I appreciate you, Vincent. Later.
Yep.
Good point. Rock out. Rock out. What else you got, pal? Let's get into a weekly winner draft right now on Underdog.
Okay.
Underdog promo code Smitty. Hit this link if anybody wants to get in a draft. If you don't get into this draft, just get in a draft alongside of us and draft. Also, use that link, which inserts promo code Smitty. I just dropped it again. It's pinned in the live chat to get signed up on Underdog. And then what we do is we just say, go into this contest. And then we all go and rush into the contest together. And how do you get there? You just, at the bottom, you're going to click Originals tab. At the middle, you'll say Active Drafts. Then you'll see a Lobby tab. Hit Lobby. And then you hit NFL. And it sorts by all the NFL type of drafts that you can get in. The one that we're joining is weekly winners. We're always going to do 20-second drafts, just so you know. They go faster. They train you. They get you on your toes. And that filled up quick. It's full. Ray G's in the building. I see him. Speedy's in there. Jeffrey. Okay, so we should be good. Let's see what we cook up. I got, of course, the 8 pick. Well, that's a little earlier than normal, but the 8 pick. The other day I got the 1 or 2, didn't I? But let's see what we do. Now, weekly winners is a little bit different ADP and strategy. A lot of the quarterbacks go a lot earlier. They get scooped up real quickly in the weekly winners because it's all about who scores the most amount of points in one given week. There's no let me just go to the board view here. There's no accumulation of points. Week 2 has nothing to do with week 1. Week 1 has nothing to do with week 2. Week 17 has nothing to do with week 15. It's just who scores the most points in any given week, and the winner of each individual week using the same team they drafted. It's not like you get to redraft or there's no ad drops. It's all optimal scoring. The person has the highest score in every week. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. You could have a team that's suspended the entire season but week 17, and you only get those guys to play week 17. Well, you can win 20K in week 17. This is the highest scoring team. So that makes quarterbacks a lot more valuable. Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, JJ, Ray G's on the clock at number 4. Speedy's on the clock at number 5. And then we got number 6 is Darnell. And then who the hell this other guy is? Okay, Jahmyr Gibbs. So I'm on deck. Genty's there. This is a format where drafting Henry and McCaffrey are not bad options, because if they get hurt, if Henry plays like a top 5 running back for 5 weeks straight and then gets hurt, you got 5 weeks of trying to win 20K each individual week. Genty went. I'm going to take Neighbors. Whoops. Puka's not bad in this format too, because I think he could get hurt, but he could have huge games. And I think Neighbors is also pretty good in this format because I think he'll have monster games. And I think Neighbors can flirt with the number 1 wide receiver spot all year long. Maybe he finishes 4 or 3 or 5 or 2, but he can certainly flirt with it. All right, let's go back to the board view. Puka. Travis, who do you think has the most? Who would you trust more in weekly winners, Henry or Christian McCaffrey? And let's say you could cuff McCaffrey, and you're probably not going to try and cuff Henry. Which running back would you trust in weeklies, where you might get 5 shots, 4 shots, 7 shots, depending on how healthy they stay?
I guess if I can cuff in weeklies, Grendo and James,
yeah,
I'll take McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey has a handful of games. I don't know if it'll be 6 games or 10 games, but I think he's a top 10 guy per start still. It's just a matter of how long does that hold up.
Yeah. Or would you rather have Grendo?
We could blow it all out after 1 week.
But would you rather have Grendo, Henry, and Jordan James on the team instead of CMC?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay. So the answer maybe isn't.
Actually.
Yeah. Kind of throw a curveball at you. It's hard.
Because I think there's a good chance Henry still has plays the full year and doesn't get hurt. I think when Henry goes, it's just that he's not going to be able to do it anymore in terms of he'll get slow or just can't get the yards per carry, can't break away enough, get in the open field enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gets that hurt unless it's some devastating injury. He's just so big.
I went Brock Bowers here. I went Neighbors and Bowers, pretty good in weeklies, I think, but we'll see what happens. Lamar will go. These quarterbacks are going to go a lot earlier. Bucky and CD, I like that. Bijan and whoever Ray G stacks right here. We'll see. Waddle and Hill.
Which way do you go?
I think I was going to say what you said until I thought about it for a second, and then that's why I asked the question. I think I'd rather have Henry and Grendo and Jordan James. Because you get the best of both worlds and be scoring, having 2 top 5, scoring players. Then again, you run the risk of, but in weeklies, I don't care. In weeklies, I'll have a shot. And even if Henry plays for a month and gets hurt and CMC plays that next 4 games after that, and I have a span where I don't have any chance of winning because Henry's out and Christian McCaffrey's playing and I've got only Grendo and Henry. But then all of a sudden, week 8, 9, 10, 11, Grendo gets in there, and then all of a sudden I'm back in the mix. So I think I probably still would do it. In weeklies, I would.
And I wonder, because Henry takes such good care of his body that if when he goes, it's more he just hits a wall rather than gets injured.
CMC
does.
Getting
older though. So.
CMC does too, but I believe you're right. Henry doesn't have the injury history. He probably will just slow down, and he can't get through the hole. It'll look like, unfortunately, and people won't believe me because they think he's invincible. It'll look like he's running in mud. That's what it's going to look like. It's going to look like he's running in mud and he can't get his feet out of the mud. It's really painful to watch.
Last year in Tennessee, end of the year, that's what it looked like.
I know.
He didn't have a great line and he didn't have much around him, and it looked like that was it. But going to the Ravens with Lamar, that just was a game changer for him.
Yeah. All right, let's go over here. On deck here, Marv just went. I've got no RB yet, but I almost don't care. I'm still ripping the best player available. I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts here. This is I've never built this team before. Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, Jalen Hurts. Kind of wild.
That's cool, yeah.
We'll see what happens, but
a lot of people probably don't remember. Do you remember last year, week 1? Henry looked like he was running in. He went 13 for 46.
Yeah, it did. It did, but when
it was against Kansas City, but still.
When Adrian Peterson slowed down, it was hard to take Marshall Faulk. For those that play fantasy football back then, hard to see. Emmitt Smith, he started slowing down. It looked like he was running into mud. And it just happens. But I think you're right. I think McCaffrey, because he's such a dynamic receiver, I don't know if anybody noticed that CMC didn't really look the same last year when he came back, except for as a receiver. He looked really, really good there, and then he got hurt. But I think that he could survive a little bit longer per start. Like if let's say they both missed half of a year, it's hard to say, but I just think McCaffrey's going to get injured, and like you said, Henry's going to slow down. And it'll be painful. It'll be so painful to watch. I mean, just think about Adrian Peterson. Remember, he lingered in the league a while, and it was like you'd watch Adrian Peterson get a handoff, and you're like, damn it.
Just waiting for him to break one. It never happens.
Yeah. All right, this guy's on the clock here. Who's he got so far? He went JSN. Garrett Wilson, Puka, JSN, H-Hand. Very good. I'm probably going to go Breece Hall here as my RB1. So I went 0 RB through 4 rounds. I got as balanced as you can get. I got Hurts, I got Hall, I got Neighbors and Bowers. Woo. Pretty good. Pretty good. Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, RJ Harvey. Just leave it to Speedy to draft straight off the show. He's just gonna draft show guys, no hesitation, doesn't matter. He's gonna draft straight off the supernovas, no doubt about it.
Loyal show guy.
Loyal show guy. If I'm in a coma, Speedy would know what to do. I don't think he would even err on the side. He would just slam all the novas in a row. I like my squad though. It's right in the middle of the screen. I'll put it to the right, the far right. Neighbors, Brock Bowers, Jalen Hurts, and Breece Hall. Pretty damn strong.
The second one, you've been able to grab Bowers in the second round. Last week, you did the JJ Bowers last week.
Mm-hmm. Also, you think you got to keep mind about CMC. You know what's funny? People don't realize he's always got knee issues. Always. He almost missed a lot of time in San Francisco during knee injuries. And the knee injuries.
Always holding your breath.
And you got to think about the fact that when you have that, your knees are obviously breaking down overall. You're having meniscus problems all around. It's just not. It's a pretty tough situation. And his season, people forget, didn't end because of the bilateral Achilles tendonitis, which he was suffering with. He tore his PCL, which, obviously didn't require a major surgery, but that doesn't mean that it's not stretched out to a degree still. A lot of people might say, well, I'm on the clock here. I got to go Hampton. I think I'm going to go Hampton here. Breece Hall and Hampton's pretty solid. I think if I was in redraft, I might think differently, or in redraft, in a regular contest, I might think differently. I might have went Henderson, but and part of me regrets not just going Hendy after the fact, to be honest. I thought maybe he'd fall. I know I'm drafting with my people, probably not going to happen, but I think I would have maybe had a shot because he was a little bit, not far down, but he was enough that it would have made it around. Most likely, I'd say 6-7 times out of 10. So I would have got all three, Breece, Hampton, and Hendy. But at least this, I had a shot at it, maybe. But Hampton's going to get all the work at some point. So there's a chance, though, that Breece Hall wears down by the time Hampton's in. And, I could have screwed that up. But I think Hampton's still going to be very effective until he gets, full control of the lineup. But Najee could get goal line work initially. People are going to be so mad. He could be one of the most frustrating players to own, honestly. I got to go Devontae Smith here, right? I got Hurts, so.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I'm very curious to see what the Eagles do with their passing game this year.
Hurts, Hall.
Gotta be better or they'd be in trouble.
Hurts, Hall, Hampton, Neighbors, Devontae Smith, Brock Bowers. Pretty good. Pretty good. I could guess that Speedy's probably going Mahomes here. I can just predict every single move he's gonna make. Speedy, you would probably be the worst Texas Hold'em player or poker player. Yeah, I like this squad. Neighbors, Bowers, Hurts, Brees Hall, Hampton, Devontae Smith. I'm just kidding, Speedy. You might be good at poker. I don't know, but at least predicting your picks is all I gotta do is look at the Moon Man, Mars Man, or the Nova list, and it'll be damn in order. Hey, I take pride. It's flattering. Ray G on the clock. Ray G, you've gone wide receiver shopping here. Bijan, JT, then just straight wide receivers. T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, Travis Hunter. Jeez. Speedy going Dublé quarterback to Cuff McBride. And now we're sitting here on the clock, or on deck. Caleb Johnson. I kind of feel like Judkins is good here, especially in weeklies. So I got Hampton, Judkins, and Hall. I've got Neighbors, Devontae Smith. I got Jalen Hurts and Brock Bowers. That's pretty damn good in weeklies. And Judkins is a tough player to, I think, predict the workload, but in weeklies, that's where those things are just fine. I'm not worried about the committee situations where I think Judkins is in a committee, but that's a pretty damn good pick in round 7 in a weekly contest. If someone...
Devontae Smith is really nice in weeklies, too.
Yeah. Justin says, if someone takes Keon Coleman over Kyle Williams, Jack Besh, and Drake May, I just don't know what your theory is. Like, do you just want the worst wide receiver in that area at separating? I take it, Justin, you're not a Keon Coleman fan.
No, he's not.
Is that what he's saying? Okay.
Should have called in for the Tyreek side.
I mean, yeah, you should have called into the Tyreek, but he probably say he doesn't like Tyreek either, but... All right.
I mean, I could argue Coleman over Williams and Bash. I like both Williams and Bash too.
I mean, no offense, Justin, but aren't you the aggressive defender of Ayuk? Alave just went. I would have probably liked that at this stage because you're not worried about concussions or anything like that. I get, it's really early, but I'm not really early. I just scrolled down a little, but I want to make sure my running back stable is solid because I did neglect it for so long. So I went Hall, Hampton, Judkins, Scattaboo. I'm pretty good now. I think at some point they all get going. I mean, would you rather have Ayuk over Keon Coleman? Toner says Coleman is mid, Reek is great when on the field, but I mean, that you can't use that argument, Toner. He's been on the field, he hasn't looked good. Not to mention, his past is no. You cannot just say, like when people say Christian McCaffrey is one of the best in the game when he's on. Like that's such. When people say that about Christian McCaffrey, it is such a lazy take. But Christian McCaffrey is one of the best. We know what he's been. We've been here playing fantasy football. You don't have to remind us what McCaffrey used to be and then use that as an argument. I mean, you can. But Toner...
He played all 17 games last year, yeah.
In the same context...
When he's on the field.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill was on the field and he didn't do anything. He didn't. And Coleman, I think, again, to a much lesser degree, Bijan did not deliver his rookie year because of his unfortunate situation. And while I swear, if someone says you're compared to Bijan to Coleman, I'm not. I'm going to lose it. But in the same context of being neglected by your team, I mean, this is a very similar type of neglect. Not player, not output, but neglect that makes it impossible to judge Keon Coleman fully for his rookie year. You better take Ayuk. Niner fan if I've ever seen one. Bro, Ayuk's not even going to be, he's going to start on PUP. Tomorrow we have a video on it. Tomorrow I'll have a video. Ow, just banged my knee. Tomorrow I'll have a video on it. Ayuk is starting the year on PUP. There's a chance Ayuk doesn't play till mid-season. And when he comes back, he's regulated to the number 3 wide receiver role and 4th or 5th receiving option on his team. Ayuk is trash. Not to mention Ayuk was in his own head and incapable of being a good wide receiver even when he was healthy. Right before he injured himself. He wasn't here.
Ayuk has to prove
trash.
Ayuk has to prove it on the field just as much as Coleman has
More
to prove it on the field now.
More than Coleman.
Debacle.
Egbuka, come on down. Egbuka, come on down, buddy boy. Hurts, Brees Hall, Marion Hampton, Quinshawn Judkins, Cam Scatterboo, Neighbors, Devontae Smith, Egbuka, Bowers, doing it live. Doing it live. This is a reach-a-thon here. There's so many players going. About 10 picks early, nearly every 5th player. Yeah, Ayuk has to be one of the worst contracts in recent memory. And these Niner contracts are just grossly out of place too. You know, like the Kittle contract, you could argue if you believe he's going to play, you know, for another 3 years or whatever, but there's a chance that he walks into this year and can't stay healthy. There's that chance. He's so aggressively abusive to his own body that it's been a year and a half, 2 years we've been wondering how many healthy years can he squeak out. And he's even admitted himself he's going to have a short career. So Kittle paying Christian McCaffrey when they did walking into last year, just an absolute misstep. Paying Brock Purdy now versus waiting until next year. Ayuk was one of the worst contracts. That's honestly one of the worst contracts we've seen. Oh my God. I don't know. He's going to time out. I'll just take blue. Got all rookie running back team. All rookie RB team. Look at that. Brees Hall, Hampton, Judkins, Scatterboot, blue. But I love rookie running backs and weeklies because those are the guys that can have those huge weeks, these rookie RBs. Neighbors, Devontae Smith, Egbuka, Bowers. Just trying to get it all to come together for 1 week. And the other thing, too, about using Coleman's stats last year, those of you that are going to say he's bad at separating, here's some data that, I get it. If that's your argument and you want to stand on that, I understand. If you think that's what he's bringing to the table, but keep in mind that the guy's bringing, you know, a 10 extra LBs to the table. He's looking different. Like you just read this right here, that he looks faster than ever getting out of his breaks. That's what he's been working on. So if you want to judge him off of last year's separation, you could be left, you know, I think regretting that you thought he couldn't change any of that. Toner says my draft is Sunday, and I have 1.4 and 1.10 in 10-team dynasties. Is it Superflex? I have the 1.4. Oh, in a rookie draft. I mean, Harvey or Hunter is probably who you're going to be. Hendy, Harvey, Hunter. Grab one of them. Who do you grab? I'm in the same dilemma as you, and I don't know. So, if you need a wide receiver, I think Hunter is a great selection because they're all pretty equal. So when everything's equal, you lean toward the position of need, but you don't lean toward the position of need necessarily unless things are equal. I think Harvey's exciting. Hendy's exciting. Hendy's a little safer than Harvey. Long term, Harvey's a little better for the now term dynasty mindset, and then Hunter's just amazing in dynasty, and the longevity of Hunter is going to be 10 plus years versus the 6-year shelf life of an RB. On the clock. You guys are sniping like crazy. I can't leave. I got to get a second quarterback. Just took Penix Jr. You guys are gonna take him every time. Every time. 15 picks down. Boom. Goes to the next pick. Yeah, I wouldn't judge Keon Coleman. The 50.9% catch rate. You can't judge Keon Coleman for last year. You either say I don't believe he'll do any different, or you're throwing it out. I'm not saying it's smart either way. I'm just saying that there's two lines of thinking. If you are stuck on last year's stats, then don't draft him. But if you're willing to say this is going to be quite a different year for him, he added the 10 pounds, his separation is different. The guy was catching everything in camp. So a lot of it was on different factors in game. His hands aren't the problem. I can promise you that. He was catching everything.
Like Roger says, watch the film. Allen doesn't trust him. Well, I don't. Maybe he didn't last year, but I trust him this year if he's improved.
Yeah, that's what you're banking on. You got to bank on that or not.
Right.
It's not something that you can just either believe in it or you don't. Are the super flexes out already? Oh, they are. The puppy super flex is out. Woo! We should have did that tonight. I didn't even see that. Damn. That would have been fun to do. All right, boys, anything else? I'm probably going to cycle off the phone line, and I don't know if I'm going to finish this whole stream out because your boy is tired. I've been live. This is my 1, 2, 3, 4 show today. So, anything else, boys? Rock out? You guys there?
Oh. Okay. I gave you one of my team so far.
Sure.
The quarterback.
I can't hear you, Rock out. I can't hear you, man.
Can you hear me?
A little bit. Yeah, Rock out. I don't know what's going on. Travis, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Rock out on the phone. Sounds like you're in a submarine. Rock out. Post it in the chat. Paste your team in the chat, and I'll pull it up and judge it. I can't hear you. Anything else, Travis?
No, just I think the bottom line is, like you said, if you don't believe in them, you're probably like, if you didn't like them last year, if you don't believe in them last year, you're going to base everything off last year, you're not going to take them. And that's just
Yeah.
the end of it.
And
I don't think many people are moving off of that.
Yeah, keep in mind they'll be 50-50 on this. So don't listen to the people that doubt him, because they're just going to fill your head with negativity. If you believe in Keon Coleman, trust him, because he costs you literally nothing. And the people saying that he's trash,
That's the big point.
I mean, don't draft him then. But the people that want to believe in him, he's free. He's practically free. And if he's not, don't draft him. Only draft him when he falls to a really nice pick. Let's go.
Especially on Underdog. Take a couple of shares.
Yeah.
Why not? At that
Before you leave, what do you think of this team? Hurts, Penix Jr., Brees Hall, Hampton, Judkins, Scattaboo, Blue, Neighbors, Devontae Smith, Egbuka, McMillan, Kyle Williams, Brock Bowers. Weeklies, a decent shot. I could do.
I like
do
that.
something.
Yep.
I
love the Egbuka McMillan combo in weeklies and in
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I think if you draft McMillan, you've got to, or Egbuka, you have to draft McMillan. I think it's key.
Evans or Godwin, one of them is missing time, or they're both getting older.
And
so much opportunity, and they throw so much.
And what are the chances that Egbuka and McMillan are the number one and number two in like a year and a half, 2 years from now? Godwin's not a spring chicken, and he can't stay healthy.
Right.
McMillan could be a lot better than we think fantasy wise.
I still like McMillan a lot. It's just a matter of how good Egbuka can be, and but we've seen Godwin and Evans survive together. Kind of goes back and forth at times.
All right, Travis.
Yep. Thanks, Smitty. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, see you on the Patreon.
Yeah,
all right.
I'll be over there later.
Yep. Later, man. I'm gonna end the stream, but I'm gonna finish drafting this. Almost, getting to the end anyway. But if you guys want to draft with us next time, go to Underdog, promo code Smitty. Here's the link one more time. The link's pinned in the live chat, but I'll drop it again. And if you want to get in, just click this link now. It takes 2-3 minutes still. You get a bonus credit up to $1,000 depending on your first deposit, but $10 minimum. This draft tonight was $10. The puppies but super flex are $5. So if you do the $10 minimum, you can do two. You'll get a bonus credit, and you'll be able to do two. I think 2 puppies. You'll get at least the ability to do 2 puppies, because you'll have the. No, I'm sorry, 4 puppy drafts. So $10 minimum gets you 4 drafts, and I would take advantage of that before they take that offer away. Hit that link. Get ready to draft. Tomorrow night. We pretty much go live every midnight Eastern. See you all later. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here for the court episode. And I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, rain or shine, every single Monday through Friday. I'm live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. Almost every single night, midnight Eastern. And I'm live additionally, so sometimes 3, 4, 5 live streams in one day. I'm live additionally whenever big news breaks that needs to be broken down. If it's big enough news that you're like, I got to get to YouTube, Smitty's doing this right now, that's when you know to probably come looking for a live stream. And go to my Instagram, and if you go to my Instagram, I'll show you right here. There's a free channel. See these little circles like merch and highlights and show, and there's one that should be at one of the first 2 or 3 circles, and it says channels, and they're free, and you just click on it, and then when you click on it, it'll say join, and it'll show you there's like 450 to 1,000 people in it, and you just click it, and whenever I go live, if you go to that live channel, draft channel, live channel, join either one, I announce it to everybody in that channel. Going live, here's the link. And so you never miss a live stream. People complain, oh, the YouTube notifications didn't tell me about the live stream, because they throttle them back. They decide for you when you probably want to have another alert. It's kind of stupid. But all you got to do is join that. I'm going to take Dylan Sampson here. I took Dylan Sampson so I compare him to to Judkins here. So I have Judkins, Dylan Sampson. So definitely make sure you're clicking that channel, and that way you know whenever I go live. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you.
He's Kyron, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyron, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Thank you, Blackbeard. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Sick Nasty. Thank you, Space Ricky. Thank you, DeBalt. Thank you, Terry Roberts and Kenny Powers and Vampy. Who am I missing? Damn it, I always miss somebody. Sick Nasty, Space Ricky, Blackbeard, Travis, Vampy, Kenny Powers, Terry Roberts. Who am I missing? It says Space Ricky. Why do I always do this to myself? Travis, did I miss anybody? Thank you, Ship. Thank you, Toner. Thank you, Blackbeard. Thank you, Justin. Double A. We haven't seen him in a while, though. Double A. Silent Partner, appreciate you. Appreciate Matt Huff. Daddy Dennis, what's up, my boy? Ghost. Rush, appreciate you. Space Ricky. DJ, we'll see you later. DJ says, a machine. Smitty, impressive. Later, team. Thank you, DJ. Who else? Bandy, what's up? Roger. Antoine. Religion, what's up? Kruger, you want to say bye to the people? We just ended the live stream. I forgot you were here.
No worries, Smitty. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to drop a deuce on that like button and stay loose. We'll catch you next time.
Hey Pablo, what's going on, hombre? We just got done with a Fuego live stream. Did you want to say bye to the people?
What's good, hombre? Just chilling, ready to wrap up that Fuego live stream vibe. To all the people still tuned in, gracias por el apoyo. Catch you next time. Stay lit.
Stay loose. Stay loose. Don't forget, stay loosey-goosey, baby.
Yo, staying loosey-goosey, baby? Keeping it chill and vibey? Any big plans to keep that Fuego energy going?
I'm just going to hit that end button.
All right. Smash that end button and keep it loosey-goosey. You want to recap the live stream or just vibe out now?
Get out of here. Let's get Kruger back in here. What are you doing? Creeping me out. Hey, Kruger, I got to say, man, we moved on to Pablo for a minute, and he creeps me out.
I get it. Pablo's definitely got a unique vibe going on. If he's creeping you out, we can keep him in the background or tweak his style a bit. We definitely don't want any creepy vibes haunting the show.
Kruger, I drafted my RBs, my 2 starting RBs. I want you to guess which 2 I drafted. The first RB I took him at pick 41 overall. His first name starts with a B. His last name starts with an H. Who is it?
All right, let's see. First name starts with a B, last name with an H, and you grabbed him at pick 41. That's got to be Braylon Allen, right?
What?
Solid choice for your...
Braylon Allen? Kruger, you just crapped all over your own credibility. Good Lord, Kruger.
My bad. I guess I fumbled that one. All right, let me take a lap and redeem myself.
Hey, first of all, Braylon Allen, his last name's with an A, bro. It's his first name starts with a B. His last name starts with an H. How did you get Braylon Allen?
You're right. That was a slip. With a first name starting with B and a last name starting with H, I'm guessing you went with Bucky Irving. That makes a lot more sense.
That's B.I., bro. What is wrong with you?
All right, I'm striking out here. Let's reset. First name B, last name H. That's got to be Blake Hinson, right? Thanks for the patience, Smitty.
How about Brees Mother freaking Hall? Brees Hall, Kruger. I'm starting to wonder what's going on inside that box.
Brees Hall, of course. That's a powerhouse pick. I must be malfunctioning today. Brees is a beast and definitely a top.
What makes you think that H means Irving, Bucky Irving? I don't understand what you're doing. Let's try it one more time. My second running back I took at 56 overall. First name starts with an O. His last name starts with an H.
Got it. First name O, last name H, and you took him at 56 overall. That sounds like Omari and Hampton.
There you go. There you go. All right. My number one wide receiver, first name starts with M, last name starts with N. Pick number 8.
All right, pick number 8, first name M, last name N. That's got to be Malik Neighbors. He's a beast at WR1.
Okay. Who's my tight end? It starts with his first name starts with a B, his last name starts with a B.
First name B, last name B for your tight end. That's got to be Brock Bowers.
Okay.